can stop here.
That'll be 36 bobbins. Thank you, miss. You American?
Yep.
I shouldn't bank on getting this house, miss. Not down this road.
Really?
No. Thank you, miss. You won't find many coloured brethren down here.
Colored what?
That's how it is, see?
Yeah, I see. Mrs. Diamond?
Yes?
My name's Judy Marshall. Is your husband in?
Well, why do you want him?
I saw your husband at court this morning. He left in a hurry.
Who are you?
I'm a journalist. I know your husband. May I talk to you?
What do you want to talk to me about?
I work for American Magazine. I have credentials.
Put them through the letterbox.
May I come in?
What's all this about?
About your husband.
Well, what about him?
I've been helping him. May I come in?
You said you were with my husband in court this morning. What happened?
It didn't take long. The magistrate asked him if he had anything to say. He didn't, of course. He was fined 50 pounds, bound over, and left.
Well, then why isn't he here? He said he'd come straight back.
Could I talk to you, Mrs. Diamond?
Well, what about?
About you.
Well, what about me?
It wouldn't be worth as much as a Diamond in Africa story, but Joyce Diamond in captivity. Interesting possibilities.
How do you know about that? Not even the police know that.
Do you think, we could sit down?
How do you know about that?
We'll pay, shall we say, 1,000 pounds?
1,000 pounds?
Okay, no haggling, 2,000.
Did John tell you?
Only that it happened, not what happened.
Oh, I see. Can I take your coat?
Thank you.
Would you like a cup of tea?
No, thank you.
A drink? My husband left a bottle of something.
Not while I'm on duty. I thought John didn't...
John?
Isn't that his name?
Well, to his friends, yes, his close friends.
Oh, I'm sorry. American, you know no manners, brash, vulgar,
You're not a
familiar.
close friend, then?
Maybe you and I have different ideas of what closeness is.
Well, I certainly hope so.
I get the shakes too, Mrs. Diamond, after what you've been through.
John said I wasn't to answer it while he was out.
It might be John. Shall I answer it?
No. No. Hello?
Is that Mrs. Diamond?
Yes?
Could I speak to Mr. Diamond, please?
He isn't here.
Isn't there? He must be there by now. The case ended nearly an hour ago.
Can I take a message?
I'd rather speak to him personally. Please ask him to come to the phone.
I told you, he isn't here.
I find that hard to believe, Mrs. Diamond, that he'd leave you alone after your recent ordeal. It's positively inhuman.
Who the hell are you?
He must know there may be another attempt on you. He just leaves you to it. Alone.
I'm not alone.
Really? Don't tell me police protection. Diamond doesn't trust even them.
I have a friend with me.
Someone substantial, I trust. Someone courageous and with the strength of 10.
That's right. His name's Mark Terson.
Oh, Mrs. Diamond, really. I'm looking at Terson right now. He's very dead.
You bloody murderer.
Please, Mrs. Diamond. He simply got in the way.
And I'm in the way, too.
What do you think?
Go to hell.
Can I get you a drink? Come on and sit down.
John said he wouldn't be more than a few hours.
Where's that bottle?
What's happened to him? Why isn't he here?
I wish I knew.
Oh, don't bother, I'll do that.
Where's that bottle you said he left?
What?
The bottle.
Oh, it's in there, but I don't want to drink.
I do. And I don't like drinking alone. Where's, your British sense of hospitality? Brandy, 5-star, good stuff. John has the extravagance of a man who rarely indulges himself. He's a bit of a Puritan, really, isn't he? Distinctly squarish. Here, get that down. You'll kindle the fires of resistance. Cheers. You're very brave, Mrs. Diamond. I think I've fallen for you.
I'm very frightened.
Only the brave are frightened. The fearless are plain stupid. Bottoms up. Tell me what happened when they kidnapped you.
And make £2,000.
I'd have to call my editor for more. Want me to? Reverse the charges?
How did you know about that?
John rang me last night.
I think you know John rather well, don't you?
I know you pretty well, too. In 10 minutes?
How well do you know him?
Ships that pass in the night, no skin off of anyone's nose.
Not mine?
Depends on how far you lean over the rail of a passing ship. Tell me what happened. What did they do? How in the hell did Terson get killed?
For £2,000. How much is that in dollars?
About $4,760.
I think I'm getting to know you rather well, too. You have a mind like a cash register in a supermarket.
They make more mistakes.
John is this week's bargain offer family-size pack.
If I can find the right shelf family.
You don't want my story, you want his.
Right again.
£2,000 is a bribe for me to put the pressure on him.
Is that a bad reason? Cheap at twice the price?
How much is his story worth?
I'm authorized to pay £20,000.
God.
When your divorce goes through, you won't get less than a third of that. Plus $2,000.
How much do you get?
More than money. Prestige. Which means importance, which means power. I'm on my way to the top, Mrs. Diamond. I like being number one.
And John is just one more step in the ladder. Is that why you got to know him?
Is that a bad reason?
Oh, no. Only you wouldn't be number one there. I was that.
I can still enjoy tourist areas.
My lawyers tell me that under a divorce settlement in which the husband is guilty, the family home goes to the wife.
Big deal.
Since the divorce is a formality, this is my house, so get the bloody hell out of it, you black bitch.
Would you like a mint?
Get out.
And leave you alone, Mrs. Diamond. You can face being on your own, can you, in the unfortunate absence of your husband?
Take your bloody coat and get out.
I'm on my way, Mrs. Pinky. But that's the real color of whites. What else could it be? Pink with shame, pink with embarrassment, pink with self-disgust because the house across the road won't be sold to anyone the color of the earth it stands on. Look into your soul, Mrs. Diamond, and remember, blood is red. My blood, your blood, everybody's blood. going on?
There's someone in that empty house across the road.
Who?
I don't know. When he saw me looking, he hid.
Which window?
Upstairs, the front bedroom.
Have you seen him before?
It was too fast, but a man, he said...
I'll call the police.
No, John said not to.
Who in the hell does he think he is? Why isn't he here now?
This morning he said he'd only be a few hours, that they'd be interested in him at court, not me here.
I don't think Diamond gives a damn about you. Because I'll tell you this, he doesn't give a damn about me, and I got that news from an unusually reliable source. Me. You mind if I have another brandy?
What do you really want?
A story. Simple as that. One great big juicy story. In print.
My husband's story.
When he's finished it,
What if it finishes him first?
then I'll just have to get it some other way.
By any means?
That's right.
That's all he means to you, a story.
What means anything else to him?
So you'll stay and wait until he comes?
I don't know. Maybe.
Perhaps I imagined it.
No, you're too sober. There's someone over there. My inner Tom's beating tell me so. And it's big. Very, very big. Do you know what's happened in Africa? What's happened in Dabanga, in other states, what people have done there? How civil war was fixed by other men in other countries, like not so Great Britain. Men who all had the same colored money. The international sun worshippers. The men of gold. Gold. Take a mining concession of green copper, another of blue zinc, a few million tons of gray lead, a touch of rusty quartz, a generous helping of white magnesium, top it all off with limitless black uranium, sprinkle a few million gallons of red blood, and what have you got? Gold. One great big golden cake. Many slices for a few men. So do I believe that there's some man in an empty house trying to put the screws on a wife of a man who's just mad enough to try to bring a gang of murderous gnomes down from their snowy mountaintops? What do you think I believe?
Where are you going?
My best bet is that little house across the road.
You can't go there.
I have an American passport. Nobody's gonna push me around in beautiful downtown Croydon.
You don't know them.
All right. So I'll introduce myself. I want my story and I'm gonna get it any way I can.
Young American girl reporter found dead in empty house. How's that for a story? You better take this. John gave it me this morning.
At least I'll be the first black to have lived and died in this road. Even if it was only for 10 minutes.
You're not only 5 minutes. I'll call the police.
Thanks, make it 10. And lock the door behind me. My name's Judy Marshall. I'm an American reporter, so start thinking twice before you start shooting. They won't put a D notice on that story, not in the States. I should add, I'll pay. Dollars. For the right information, more than you're getting for scaring the crap out of Joyce Diamond. Whatever you're getting, I'll double it. So shall we talk? I said, shall we talk?
What were you expecting? Count Dracula?
What the hell were you doing in that empty house? How long have you been there?
An hour?
Oh, you said last night you promised you'd look after me.
I said I'd protect you.
From over there, what kind of protection is that? You'll go on using me, won't you? Wasn't the last 24 hours enough? Kidnapped, tied up, frightened almost to death. When are you going to stop?
Now calm down, Joyce. You're perfectly safe. I could see anybody who came near the house. It was a good vantage point.
Why couldn't you let me know?
I'll have you sprint over every time a floorboard creaked.
I was frightened.
There's no reason to be frightened.
Oh, isn't there? There was a phone call.
Who from?
He wouldn't say.
What did he say?
He said, I'm looking at Mark Terson right now, and he's very dead.
That's why there was nothing in the papers this morning. They must have removed the body before the ambulance arrived.
He also said there'd be another attempt on my life, and that to leave me alone was positively inhuman.
The way I see things, no one can do much for an entire people of any color if one can't do much for an entire individual.
What are you doing here, Judy? Trying to mix up something for your gossip column?
No, he didn't come back last night. And I missed you at court, so I thought...
Oh, I see. Ships that pass in the night.
That's right.
No skin off anyone's nose.
That's right.
Not mine.
You're divorcing him, aren't you, so?
Yes, suing for adultery. There have been others. Don't think you're the first.
I haven't even met you.
How many other wives haven't you met? How many husbands haven't you met, or aren't there any left?
A few husbands whose wives keep them happy. You know what I mean?
John, get her out of here.
Oh, sure, I'll go. But this time I won't come back. See how it feels to be alone when St. George packs his lance and drives off into the sunset. God save the Queen of Croydon.
You're not going anywhere. You'll stay here and you'll stay quiet.
You're married to her, not me.
Just.
They've threatened Joyce and they won't discriminate about you. They've already killed 250,000 blacks in Tobanga. Do you think they're likely to stop there? Joyce doesn't want to be left alone, so we'll all stay here. My God. What a time to be faced with the eternal triangle.
How long do we have to wait?
I don't know. Maybe they haven't decided yet. Or maybe it's enough just to drive me insane. Carted off to the loony bin, gibbering about conspiracies. The opinion in certain quarters is that I'm that far round the bend anyway. Maybe I am. If you're mad, how do you know you're mad?
If this goes on much longer, I will be. Terson's well out of it. He'd be alive now, but for you. So...
Yes?
Mr. Diamond,
Yes?
I thought you'd like to know we've found your room in West Hampstead. No safety there now. No safety anywhere. We know every move you make. How does it feel?
Who are you?
A potential friend, Mr. Diamond. You've still time to change your mind. Bound over for 30 days, as if the fine wasn't enough. You'll have to be on your best behavior. Now, would you ask Miss Marshall if she'd like to talk to me?
Talk to who?
Just tell her the gentleman who made her a somewhat remarkable offer yesterday with regard to the purchase of your story.
My story, an offer to her?
Didn't she tell you? Well, how interesting. May I speak to her now, please?
I'll ask her. Would you like to speak to a friend of yours?
Who?
Made you an offer yesterday. A bid for me.
The answer is still no.
You change your mind quickly, Miss Marshall. Goodbye. And that goes for all of you.
What was the offer?
Your story. Whatever my magazine would pay, they'd triple it.
Well, they're coming down in price. Last week he was 100,000 shares. Any idea who he was?
He came out of the crowd, he went back into the crowd.
Describe him.
Tallish, grayish, 50-ish. I don't know. Gray suede shoes.
Not another newspaper reporter, I suppose.
Much too well-mannered.
You asked for time to think it over, no doubt.
What is there to sell? Yet.
Well, there's the other story, the one they'd like to see published. The phony story of my thrilling escape from a villainous regime which I helped to overthrow and put the goodies in power.
There's one thing I don't understand.
Only one?
Why not write the phony story?
Because it's phony.
Why not write it? Pocket the money, go on investigating, and write the true one when you've got it.
Shall I tell her?
If you know.
Well, I know you. Honest John Diamond couldn't tell a lie to save his life. Or anyone else's.
Is that bad?
Oh, did I make it sound bad?
Yes.
Oh, it's admirable. It's what makes it possible for you to go on living with yourself. Unfortunately, it also makes it impossible for you to live with anyone else, but it's still admirable. He can't write a lie. Simple as that. If he did, he'd destroy his own image of himself. He can't write another story later. This is the truth, folks. The other was pure fiction, which just happened to be convenient to write at the time. He can't do it. It's bloody hard work being honest, John, and he daren't let up or he'd lose his grip of himself. So if he wrote the story they want written, end of case. End of investigation, end of story. Because it would be the end of honest John. And if you don't understand that about him, you're wasting your time, because you don't understand anything about him. Is that right, John?
I didn't realize honesty was one of the 7 deadly sins.
It's one of the 7 deadly virtues, and they're harder to fight.
This man. He must be close by. He knew you were here. Did he give anything away?
No.
A name, a company, a political organization?
No.
Didn't you get anything out of him?
No.
You're a bloody useful journalist, aren't you? Perhaps you'll be better off in the kitchen, too.
Even these things come up pink. For what it's worth, my feelings are you should think twice about divorcing John.
For what it's worth?
For once I wasn't thinking about money.
Oh, why not for once?
John isn't as tough as he makes out to be. You could twist him around your little finger if you wanted to.
Didn't get you far, did it?
I wasn't even trying.
Oh, going to bed with him wasn't even trying. What other talents have you got?
You've got them too if you use them. You want to see a demonstration?
This is Croydon, not Soho.
Okay. I'll leave you to your self-inflicted chores.
Talk to who? Just tell her the gentleman who made her a somewhat remarkable offer yesterday with regard to the purchase of your story.
My story, an offer to her?
Did she tell you? Well, how interesting. May I speak to
John?
her now, please?
If you get the story, sorry. When you get the story, will you give it to me? Obviously, we'll pay, but I know you're not interested in money, so I say give. You'll never get it published in this country, you know that. But Whitehall can't put a D notice on an American magazine. What is it?
Nothing.
There's something you don't quite understand about me. I'm a reporter, and I'm greedy for a scoop. But there's more to it. I'm black. In the States now, if you're not white, you're black, not colored. That's an excuse word in the States. And when they're almost out of excuses, there's going to be a civil war unless people change. Are you listening? What's happening to Bangor, in other states, what people have done there, how civil war was organized by big business, by white big business in the West. Everything you're trying to prove, don't you see how important it is to America? The horror of it, the manipulation of it, the complete inhumanity of the whole thing. Don't you see how you might be able to help wake up America and make them think twice about what's going on in their own country? And maybe say not here, not only the whites, the blacks too, and maybe get down to the roots of things before today's rise become tomorrow's war, because that's what's going to happen, Flawless Diamond, unless people stop and think. Think and feel. So will you help a country that desperately needs help? My country. Wherever I go, whatever I do, my country. Will you help me, John? Please? Help me?
Was that the demonstration?
How did I do?
Oh, you'd have fooled me.
Right. So what chance does Honest John have? Tough, cynical John Diamond who can resist anything in the world except an ideal. It's easy.
What line do you think I should take? I mean, I can hardly do the my heart bleeds for my coloured brethren bit, can I? Not in Elm Tree Gardens, Croydon.
Let's see, how about I believe in married bit? My bleeding heart is yours until death do us part. He believes it already if he'd admit it. Yes, that's the line. You can't go wrong.
Oh, there's one thing you don't know. I don't believe in marriage. Not to him, anyway.
Fine! You don't believe in marriage to him, and I don't believe in all that crap about my black brothers. I haven't got a single chromosome in common with a black African. It's people whose minds are still hobbling along in elastic-sided boots who think like that, like Honest John Diamond. That's why he fell for it. You did fall for it, didn't you, Honest John?
4:39 p.m. Man observed in house for sale across the road. The same room as I was in. It looks as though it's beginning. Stay away from that window.
Why?
Just stay away.
John, how bad was it in Africa in that jail?
Bad enough to make me unbalanced, if that's what you're getting at, which you are.
You never carried a gun in your life. You never got mixed up with thugs before.
They never got mixed up with me before.
You were such a professional.
Were a professional?
One of the best. Well, you went about things the right way. You researched, traced the right documents, the right files, the right people. You went to the top. You didn't mess about with rubbish like Ozzie and Henderson, rubbishy little villains.
I've been back in England 2 weeks. The first week I researched. I went to Company's House and looked up the names of the boards of 137 companies. I have nearly 1,000 names. Perhaps a dozen of them are the men I'm looking for, perhaps half a dozen, perhaps none. Because perhaps the names I really want aren't there at all. I spoke to officials at the Board of Trade. I was given official figures. Quite correct, I'm sure. But they couldn't begin to explain the amount of food that never reached to Bangor and the number of guns that did. I know because I was there. Nor is there any legal means of finding out how many of the millions that were collected in charity in this and other countries never reached to Bangor, or where those millions have disappeared to. I spoke to the best financial reporters in Fleet Street, and they knew less than I did. I spoke to 3 under-secretaries, 2 junior ministers, 1 senior minister, 3 members of the fraud squad, 2 men from Special Branch, an old friend of the Home Office, a less friendly one of the Foreign Office, and 2 of the toughest villains still at liberty to commute between the east and west ends of London. All that emerged was a rather nasty picture of international wheeler dealing, which, though nasty not to say obscenely immoral, is perfectly legal in the society we live in. I accomplished all this failure in 1 week, which isn't bad going even for a pro. I say failure because it didn't begin to reveal the international criminals that are involved. But as far as this country is concerned, I noised it through the land that my inquiries were almost complete. All I needed was 1 more name, and that would be that. Now, oddly enough, that might well be true. I don't know. What I did know is that if I was on the right track, there'd be a response. And there was. You know what's happened since. I've been running so hard there hasn't been time for more research, nor is it necessary. All I need to know is that one big name. The name of the man behind the men who give orders to the crummy little villains like those across the road right now. Which is why I have this. It isn't even loaded. But there's another fact they don't know. It's a prop to impress enfeebled minds that need such props. Because props like them support a superstructure that is long overdue for demolition. If this poor bloody world's to stand any chance of survival.
You say you need just 1 more name?
One might do if it's the right one. If it is, all else will follow.
Well, I may...
Yes?
Well, nothing. I'm sorry about what I said earlier.
Which particular remark over a period of 20 years?
Oh, why are you so bitter? Is it my fault? I wouldn't have thought I ever had that much power over you.
What are you sorry you said?
Oh, about Terson, I said.
I remember, don't repeat.
Well, I said he'd be alive now, but for you.
I heard.
I shouldn't have said it. I meant it to hurt. It wasn't right because...
Because?
Because, big horse. You were fond of him in your way, weren't you? More than me in your way. You had one of those real man-to-man things that women don't understand. Well, not me, anyway. When we were in that room when Mark was dying, why am I so frightened of dead bodies? They can't hurt you like live ones. Stupid, isn't it? Where was I? Oh, yes. When you saw Mark and he died, do you know tears ran down your face? Oh, I don't mean you cry. I've never seen you cry. I don't believe you can. But tears ran down your uncrying face. I've never seen them for anyone else before, certainly not me. For a moment, I was actually jealous of a dead man. Corpse. Thing. I'm sorry what I said about Mark Terson being dead because of you. One under the belt. Sorry.
4:53 p.m. I was right, there's more than one of them. Caught fractional sight of 2 men in ground floor front room. Too much shadow for description. I can't see much for this tree. Now stay away from the windows, both of you.
Did you listen to a word I said?
I heard you.
My God, I'm trying. You're divorcing me because you don't love me. Well, it takes some doing to admit you're capable of loving someone else, anyone else, to admit it to myself, let alone you.
Interesting mistake.
What?
You said I was divorcing you. If you remember, you're divorcing me.
You just don't want to hear about Terson, do you?
He's dead. That's it.
John, there's something you ought to know about Mark, something I have to tell you.
I said it's over.
Don't you want to know that Terson told those 2 men he was part of the organization you're trying to break?
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to remember, that's what. Something I don't want to remember.
He said what?
You don't want to listen because you're hurt. I don't want to remember because it's a nightmare. I know you're hurt. I tried to explain I understood that. But please listen, because I'm trying to remember something that scares the hell out of me.
I'm listening. Every word. Now, what did Terson say? Word for word.
Well, he was bluffing, I'm sure. He was bluffing to get us out alive.
What did he say? What actual words did he use when he said he was part of the organization?
Well, he said, my name's Clark, I remember that.
Clark?
Well, he was there, Ozzy there, and Henderson there. And Mark said, my name's Clark, I'm an associate of...
Yes, associate of who?
of...
For God's sake, Joyce, this may be vital. It may be what I need to put an end to this damn nightmare. Now, Mark wouldn't bluff without something to go on. What was the name? Associate of who?
Oh, I can't think if you shout at me. I never could.
I'm sorry. Just try to remember.
I'm trying. It's no good. I can't put my mind there.
No, you're trying too hard. Let your mind go. Think of anything you like.
What do you mean?
You were right. He did make it look like me. Funny, I never noticed. I suppose you don't see things you don't want to see. Cheeky little devil. I must say that for 11 years old, that's really very good.
I spoke to him this morning.
How is he?
Fine. He sent you his love.
You still enjoying the farm?
Oh, seems to be. Do you know, it hasn't changed since our first holiday there. Terry was 6, remember?
First time he's seen real countryside, wasn't it?
Remember taking him fishing for the first time?
Little did you know it was my first time, too. That tin of worms turned my stomach. The sight of him impaling them on his hook. That was why I was asleep when you came. I drifted into a reverie of editorships and world scoops. I'd only just broken into Fleet Street, remember?
I saw the two of you on the bank, and as I came toward you, you got your first bite. You had a little bell on the end of your rod, and you were asleep, and the bell started ringing. Oh, fish-tugging bell ringing. You suddenly sat bolt upright, put that empty beer bottle to your ear, and said, hello, news desk here. Oh, Terry got so brown. Oh, that little body, so beautiful.
With filthy feet, he didn't wear shoes for a
McKinley.
week. What?
Don't say anything. I've been trying to remember. Now, you say you needed to know the name of the man who was giving orders to Ozzy and the West Indian who shot Mark.
That's right.
Well, it's all so confusing. Before you arrived... Oh, God, I can't remember. But the name McKinley was mentioned, I'm sure of it. There was another name, too. There was someone else.
Someone else there?
No, someone else mentioned.
Well, Joyce, try to remember.
Oh, it's no good. I can't. John, are those men likely to get at Terry? Is he safe?
Not as long as they are now.
Well, I must go to him. I must go to Terry.
Joyce, listen, please. Just give me a little more time, I beg you. A little more time. I have to find out who is giving the orders. And now's my only chance while he's sticking his neck out over me. Now, Terry's perfectly safe at the moment. You spoke to him this morning.
They could be down there now.
No, they're not. They're over there in that empty house. I'm sure it's them. Now, Joyce, look. Try to remember. I know you don't want to because
Todd. Todd. That was the other name. Commander Todd. McKinley and Commander Todd.
Todd? McKinley, I don't know, but Todd rings a very loud bell. Mark couldn't have made that up. Look up how many McKinleys there are in the phone book. Commander Todd. Mark couldn't have made that up. He just couldn't.
Where are you going?
I have 2 names now. I want to see their faces when they hear them. From me.
We stay here, remember? Let them sweat it out.
But you must realize it has been empty for some considerable time.
McKinley? Commander Todd?
I beg your pardon.
McKinley, Todd.
Fuller, of Fuller and Schwartz. And I can assure you we are the sole agents for this property. I don't know who McKinley and Todd are, but if you're interested, you'll have to deal with us, Fuller and Schwartz. And there is a notice outside which does say, by appointment only.
Who are you?
I don't know what business that is of yours.
My name is Diamond. Ring a bell?
No, it doesn't.
That explains it. If you could wait just a few moments.
Explains what?
Well, I presume that you've come about the valuation on your own property. Your wife came to see us a few weeks ago. Now, if you could just wait until I've shown Mr. Jackson here...
Jackson?
Yes, as a matter of fact, Mr. Jack... I take it you have decided to sell your own house.
Why?
Well, since Mr. Jackson's here, he might care to step across the road and look at your property. Similar to this, sir, but rather better condition.
At a rather higher price, I presume.
A little more naturally. But it's in such perfect order that you wouldn't have to spend any money on dry rot or rising damp. Now, if you'd care to step into the front room here and just take a look at the outside. 57, more opponent. Cash customer. Rare these days. Nearly sold this damn place 3 times already, but it's always the same story. They can't get a mortgage. Now, he doesn't need one. I think I might be able to push him up to 8.5 for your house.
Yes, not bad. I wouldn't mind looking over it when we're finished here.
Well, you're very lucky to be first in the market, Mr. Jackson. Will that be all right then, Mr. Diamond? Shall we say 10 minutes?
What? I'm sorry. You'll have to ask my wife. I don't think so, not at the moment. I'm sorry to have troubled you.
Will you mention it to her then? Tell her I'll be across to see her very soon.
Yes, all right. Bye.
Goodbye, Mr. Diamond. Now, the kitchen is this way, sir.
I haven't finished with the stairs yet. Look, don't tell me that isn't dry rot.
Well, as I said, this property has been empty for quite some time.
It was a Mr. Fuller of Fuller and Schwartz, and a Mr. Jackson, a potential neighbor.
Well, no McKinley, no Commander Todd.
No,
But they're real. Mark said Commander Todd, the Negro said McKinley. They exist. They're somewhere.
not in that empty house. Maybe I do imagine too much. Looking for thieves under every bed and skeletons in every cupboard.
Maybe you do, John. But that's the way you are, and that's the way you'll go on being.
What's real and what isn't real, I don't know. They're leaving. No sale. They wanted to come over here. I said not at the moment.
What do you mean?
Fuller said he got a potential customer for you. I didn't think you were thinking of selling.
Selling what?
The house. Well, it's yours to do with as you please. Were you thinking of moving to the country? Terry would like that.
What are you talking about?
Fuller, estate agent. You saw him about a valuation.
I did no such thing.
John? John? John, that's the man. The man who made me an offer for your story. The man who was on the telephone. That's him.
Damn!
The trouble with John is he's either too mad or not mad enough.